Welcome back to the channel. We're playing 20 questions with.
Justin from Kenro.
All right, let's get into the questions. When I say fountain pen, what pen do you think of?
Ooh, it's a good question. I guess I got to go right to an Esty, right? Currently, my favorite is King of the Night, not to be plugging, but it is such a cool pen when you see it in person. Uh, did we have it at Scriptus when we
We
went up there?
did. We
It's
did.
so
We
it's
we sold them at Scriptus.
it was it's just a pen that the photos I feel like didn't do it justice, but seeing them in person, just like it's exciting.
How did you get into pens?
I answered an ad online to work at a company, and I entered a world that I didn't know existed. And it's it's been a quick transition, but it's been a lot of fun. So,
What was your first pen?
ooh, it was a Lamy Safari, actually.
Okay.
Yes, yes, I believe Ryan gave it to me. Yeah,
He seems like the person to do that.
yes, yes.
What's your current daily driver?
I don't know. I kind of like switch off everything all the time.
That's
I have
fair.
so many pens on my desk at work that like I literally just like eyes closed, grab something, and then
I don't work for a pen company, and my
that's
desk is drowning in pens. I can't imagine what your desk looks like.
yeah. Well, it's not as glamorous on my desk as you would think it is. It's mostly like little cheapies and ballpoints and rollers. It's hard to work with fountain pens, but I mean, unless I'm doing all the repairs, in which case I work with a lot of fountain pens.
Mhm. What's your current favorite ink?
Oh man, I don't remember the name. It's some Urushi ink. I actually picked it up at Fountain
Mhm.
Pen Hospital this weekend. Um, they were giving out some small samples, and I was lucky enough to grab one. But I don't remember what it's called. Is that bad?
No, if you think of the name, or just DM it to me and I'll leave it in the description.
Or it's a blank tube. I don't know if I'll have to text someone. But yeah, I was working a show. I was working the
Oh,
counter
you were
there
at the
this week.
oh
Yeah.
the Fountain Pen Hospital Christmas event.
Yep.
Mm. I think I know the answer to this. What's your favorite brand of either pens or ink?
Well, I do like Esterbrook, but I have to say I have like a sweet spot for Monte Grappa. I love writing with those pens. I don't know what it is, just the way that nib feels when it hits the paper. Really, I like it.
Vintage or modern?
I don't really have any experience with vintage. I'm still pretty new, so most of the time when it's vintage, we kind of have to send it somewhere else because we don't really know anyone that does repairs inside in house for vintage. So I don't really have a ton of experience. So I'd have to say modern.
All right. Do you swatch all the inks you own?
No.
Are there any pens that always get the same ink?
Well, so far, like I said, I'm new. I haven't really had to do many refills. Some of them have just had cartridges, but some of them, at least the ones with converters, I don't use them all enough to have had refilled them yet. So technically,
They get the same ink.
get the
That's
same ink.
yeah. Do you keep your writing samples or do you just know the nib in every pen?
I have so many writing samples because I do so many repairs that they've all gotten mixed up. So now at this point, I kind of need to know the nib by heart.
What's a pen you wish you could see in person?
Ooh, uh, there's so many. I really liked the Lord of the Rings edition, Monte Grappa, the limited edition one. That was one that they had before I started working there. I've never actually got to see it in person. So that was super cool. Um, there was an Aurora pen too that I have not seen in person. I forget what it's called. I think it's one of the planet ones,
Okay.
but that's cool.
If you had the ability to buy any pen currently, what pen would you buy?
Any pen currently? Like if money was no object, is that the
Yeah.
question? Um, we're gonna go back to Monte Grappa here. The new Year of the Dragon one, the silver with the engraving on it. I forget exactly what it's called. It might be Year of the Dragon. It might just be what it's called, but that one is a gorgeous pen. I saw a couple of them in person, and that is a really beautiful, beautiful pen.
Oh, yeah. What pen would you recommend to a beginner?
Um, Probably Schaefer, just because. Although I do like Y Studio also. Um, the what's the number? I think it's called. It's not the Revolve. It's one of their like octagonal pens. It's
Okay.
green. It writes super nice. It's got like a good feedback to it, so it almost feels like you're writing with a pencil, but it's got that fountain pen, and I like it. It's corny. I like it.
What ink would you recommend to a beginner?
I don't know so much about ink yet. I'm trying. I mean, maybe one of the samples that I got. I don't know if that's beginner ink though. I kind of feel like the people that I was talking to all knew like way more about pens than I did. So
I think it's easy to feel that way in the pen world. I definitely remember going to my first like big pen show and going, "Oh, I suddenly feel like I don't know enough to be in this room."
yes. And then they come up to you and they're like, "Hey, so like here's this," and I'm like, "I'm gonna need you to explain all of that to me," and then I will answer if I can.
Yeah. At my first big pen show, I had somebody open their pen roll and hand me several Mont Blanc and Tasha pens, and I went, "I am too poor to be in this room."
No, I've felt that many times. Yeah.
But what advice do you have for somebody wanting to try out fountain pens who might be a bit intimidated by them?
Don't be intimidated by a pen. It's fun. Everyone's so nice in the community. That's the first thing that I learned. Just going to shows and like really interacting with people is that I don't think I've ever met like a pen person that has a mean bone in their body. Everyone was super nice, super sweet, super inviting. They all wanted to talk to you about anything. I mean, even if it wasn't pens, even if it was like someone was wearing a cool shirt or something like that, or they overheard you talking about something like that you like. They're everyone's super friendly and super nice. So just get involved in the community, and it's not about price. It's about how they make you feel and how you enjoy uh, the process. So don't be intimidated.
What filling mechanism do you think is most interesting, regardless of if you actually like to use it or not?
I would say probably the twist um, pistons, the ones like specifically on like the Optimas and stuff like that. I love the way that it fills, and they're so easy to use. And it seems so complicated, but it's not. It's cool.
They are cool. The engineering that goes into pen filling mechanisms is just fun.
It's over the top. Some of them you see are just like crazy, like complicated. And it's like, how do you come up with something like that?
What size of nib do you prefer to write with?
So I can get a little artsy sometimes. So I do like to switch it up. I don't want to go too fine unless I really need to. But I also really had fun using the 1.5 when I was messing around with the Monte Grappa tester set in San Francisco. Um, that's like a really interesting size and has variation. And I thought it made my writing look very interesting.
Stub nibs are fun
Stuff those are fun.
and underrated, I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
Is there a style of nib you love or find interesting but would never actually use?
Uh, yeah, I would say probably like a Naginata or like a Techo nib for Esterbrook. Um, they are super cool, but I have no use for them really. I don't typically write that way or use them that way. I mean, I wouldn't object to having one, but I don't need it.
Yeah. Would I love a Techo nib? Yeah. Would I ever use it? Probably not.
Exactly.
Do you always use the same paper? If so, what paper?
No, I often find myself smudging because I'm not using fountain pen friendly paper. I just write what is in front of me and pay the consequences later.
Yeah, I believe it might have been Ryan who uttered the phrase, I've used fountain pens before to write on a napkin.
I threw it out. I did. I got a new pen at Fountain Pen Hospital while I was there, and I filled up the converter and immediately tried it out, but I didn't have any paper, so I just started writing on a napkin. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I need somebody, some a company probably makes them. I need reasonably priced fountain pen friendly sticky notes
I'm sure
because
somebody makes them. I don't know offhand, but
because the fountain pen friendly sticky notes I've found are so expensive that I'm like, I would go I go through like a pack of sticky notes a week.
no, you'd have to put them on the shelf and like,
I started this maybe 5 days ago.
how many sticky notes do you need in a week?
Quite a lot. I have
Oh,
a
come
brain injury. There are sticky notes everywhere.
on. All right. All right, that's a good reason, I guess.
So like sticky notes are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. But like fountain pens and sticky notes are not friends.
No, I would say not.
What
I
is your
also try to
yeah,
use the fountain pens on the sticky notes. It doesn't work. I use them in
no,
the office.
no. I need cheap fountain pen friendly sticky notes. You
Well,
know, if Estabrook really wants to make bank in 2025,
listen, we'll put it in the ether. We'll see what happens.
what's your least favorite ink color family?
Ink color family. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know a ton about inks so much yet. I'm learning. Uh,
So
where
if you had to pick a color that you think you'd never write with, what color?
I don't know that I would throw out any colors. I mean, it depends on what I was doing. Like I don't think that I would use like pink in like a daily thing, but I'm not saying I wouldn't use pink ink. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would use any color. I'm not opposed to any color.
fair enough. Well, thanks for playing 20 questions.
That was 20.
That was 20.
Man, that was quick.